Hi, it's Ed, and I welcome you to Global TV Talk Show again. I want to introduce our sponsors. Global TV Talk Show is co-sponsored by Porchlight Rental and Destination Services. That's porchlightrental.com, porchlightrental.com. Also by cubemonk.com. That's cubemonk.com. It's an innovation in also good packaging, freight forwarding, wonderful invention. And by the relocation management company, AIRS Relocation. That's AIRES, airs.com. Thank you for being a sponsor of Global TV Talk Show. Hi, this is Ed Cohen, your broadcast host again on Global TV. So I'm in San Diego, California, and our very special guest is Mr. David A. Hall, who's now in Taipei, Taiwan. So here it's a little after 6 p.m. on August 3. And David Hall, welcome. Tell us what time it is where you are.
Hi, good morning, Ed. I'm at our Research and Development Center here in Taipei. I've been staying put here with everything going on. It's about 9 a.m. So good morning to everyone.
Thank you. Well, I've never been to Taiwan. I'd certainly love to go there. And I just love the idea that they're pro-American, and so I feel safer there.
Yeah, it's consistently, one of the top 10 or 20, greatest countries, best democracy, happiest places, best places to start a business. It's constantly making the top 10 or 20 list. So welcome.
So a few years ago, you were our special guest on our talk radio show, and I thank you. And at that time, you were doing many things, but one thing that stuck in my mind was that you were focusing in on teaching English and American business practices to young Taiwan people. Is that correct?
We were. It began that way. I was an adjunct professor in China, and we started this very unique, special corporate learning and development company, executive coaching company, and we were the only expat consulting firm to offer the L&D workshops in English. So what we were doing, Ed, was providing real business skills, and at the same time, it was in English. So we were the only firm, and as Taiwan was looking to become more of a global, have more of a global presence, we were very well positioned, and we were the only expat company offering these types of services. So, yeah, you're right, and it was very successful.
Okay, so now you've been focusing in I see also from your notes venture capital, but also the developing solutions, and so you've made yourself an expert in all this highly technical, emerging technology, as you put it. So VR and AR and AI, man, it's Greek to me, but I know I have to learn about it. So why don't you do a couple of minutes on your take about the emerging technology, particularly aiming at small business management. And I know you love to talk about doctors because they are entrepreneurs, small business people.
That's right. That's right. Exactly. I myself have been involved in technology, healthcare. I was a medical center administrator for 20, 30 years. And so this is kind of a transition. We're bringing all of these things together, the technology, as you mentioned, the doctorpreneur, doctors as entrepreneurs. We call it the fourth culture doctor. So this is a doctor, right, Ed, that is now with a clinic. There are 1 in 3 doctors are independent. They want to stay independent. Many doctors are employed and want to go independent. Residents, fellows are looking, saying, hey, how can I become an entrepreneur? How can I go independent? And the only way to do it now is by leveraging the technology, emerging technology, and also evolving a new mindset. It requires not only just adding technology, as I always say, it requires a new mindset, this mindset of holistic, of synergy, flow. And we call this the fourth culture doctor. So it's a doctor that's part artist, part entrepreneur, part engineer, scientist, and technologist. So really kind of all things rolled into one.
So what's the third culture?
The third culture, there was a book written, I read when I was hospital administrator and then later as a graduate student at Harvard. There was a book called The Third Culture. And this third culture was the scientist literature. So it was the emergence of this kind of new class of scientists, the Marvin Minskys of the world in AI, and who happened to be my neighbor in Boston, by the way, the father of AI. So they interviewed all of these scientists and how they were kind of becoming the new intellectual with the emergence of science and technology. And now I believe 20 years later, or 25 years later, we are at a point where doctors now, we're bringing in the doctors. So the doctors becoming the scientists, the doctors becoming all of these things. And I coined the term the fourth culture doctor. So it's related, but technically it's not it's not another exact stage of a third culture, which is a scientist literature, but it gave me the idea. I coined this term, and doctors, that we've talked to say, this is spot on. That's exactly where we are.
So we all know that the pace of change is accelerating, not just because of the crazy economy change as a result of the virus and all the politics connected with it, particularly here, but there's a content explosion in medical info for sure, and sharing of it, or the availability of it, and virtual exams and all kinds of hybrid approaches. So with all the content, doctors don't have time to study all this stuff, do they?
Well, that's right, Ed. The content explosion, I mean, that's one major problem. The unverifiable content. So on video sites, on Googling, we have doctors watching videos before surgeries. We've done studies, we've talked to doctors. We found out that only a very small percentage of those procedures could be verified in any way. And we have more doctors, needing fast knowledge now. They need real life experiences. They need access to fast answers. Only about 20% are reading medical journals, scientific journals, because it would take them thousands of hours to read all the information in these journals. Science, JAMA, Cell, they're great, but we need what we call ultra micro learning, and we need quick learning. We need real experiences. 5-minute video, 2-minute videos, 10-minute videos, and it needs to be condensed, and interactive is key. It has to be action-based learning. It has to be interactive, and it must integrate emerging technology.
So the experience, the big X experience of the doctor experience, the technician, the nurse is becoming vital for sure,
Yes.
more than ever.
Yes.
Now, so in the Vietnam era, I was a tech, a medical tech.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that.
In Boston, never got shipped over. I was in a thoracic surgical unit, and the head of the Army Reserve medics happened to be Dr. Cronkite, who was a general in the Army at the time. And he was the president of Boston Children's Hospital, which was, of course, the Harvard Medical Training Center.
Yes, I know it well. So we did most of our
service in the ER in Children's Hospital, one night a week. And so I was a trained candy striper. And then I was got friendly with one of the docs. He's a surgeon, a resident at Children's and Mass General. And he taught me how to do a sterile tray. And so I've learned that. I found it really interesting. And he brought me into a lot of the minor surgery things. Of course, there were others more trained than me there too, but I found it absolutely fascinating. And that's the one-on-one experience I have with a high-powered surgeon. It was a long time ago, of course. But my current internist is here in San Diego, Dr. David Heller. I'll be glad to make an intro to you. Very
Sure.
successful guy. And so anyway, and he runs a very successful practice connected with scripts, and
Okay.
which is like Harvard of
I
the
know.
West
Yes.
Coast here.
Yes. I know
So,
scripts. Yes.
so I'm very familiar with what he's doing, and of course I'm part of it as a patient. So, and it's very interesting. I just had a virtual, I wouldn't call it an exam with him, but I was here and he was in his home, and we did it on video.
Mm-hmm.
And then there'll be some tests
Uh-huh.
that I have to send in and all that. But it
Oh,
was really interesting.
oh, yes, yes. Well, I didn't really have any kind of hands-on medical training as a medical center hospital administrator at Indiana University Medical Center. I was there 5 years, but I was mostly in the accounting, finance, PR, fundraising, marketing side of things. I did have an office in the Children's Hospital there as well. Riley Children's Hospital. I worked with the father of pediatric medicine, actually. But yeah, I know the Boston Children's Hospital well. As you know, I was there many years, and I think I lived across the street from your high school there, as I recall from many years ago, if I'm remembering correctly. Yeah, I remember a few things from our conversations previously, but.
Yeah. So I'm looking at my notes here. Human-machine interaction, human side of it is most important. Would you do a deep dive on
Yes.
that?
Yes. The problem has been that, a lot of companies have just attempted to add the technology, okay, without considering the human element, what the HMI, human machine interaction.
Yeah.
And the reason we've been successful in this area is because, as you mentioned, our corporate learning and development companies involve change management, and a lot of the things that you need, design thinking, to integrate these types of technologies. You can't just add the technology. You've got to think of the communication skills, the change management skills. So we incorporate that. So we take the technology and we integrate the human skills. So for instance, I'll give you a real world example. We have, like, say, avatars. This is your digital twin, or this is someone that represents you in the virtual world, like an animated figure. So we need the content for that. And we now have something called shared decision making, where doctors and clients, or doctors and patients, need to arrive at decisions together. And so we're able to use these avatars to enable doctors to perfect their communication skills, because it's about the customer experience and it's about the patient experience. The patient is coming in, they have access to much of the information that the doctor has, on the internet, and so they want to be treated differently. They want a different customer experience. They want to be involved in the decision making. So that's an example of where we bring together the technology and the human element.
So in order to make your network thrive, there has to be a culture of sharing. Is that correct?
Yes, this is a big part of it. Doctors want to share what they know. They become, experts in their areas. So when you have technology, you need the experts. We say content is king. So whether you're talking about industry, business executives, doctors, really any area, doctors have this knowledge, they have this expertise, and now they have a way to share it in what we call real life experiences. So they want to share this knowledge, they want to share this expertise, And, we bring in the consumer, we bring in the patients because they're getting a lot of misinformation. Doctors are getting a lot of misinformation.
Pretty scary.
So we need validated doctors, we need vetted information, we need quality content, and that's the key.
So is this like a political movement you want to start?
Yeah, it is somewhat. Well, it is somewhat of a movement. Yeah, we say it's a movement because the doctors, they've kind of hit a wall with, operational efficiency has peaked, and they need something new. And they were looking for this. So right, we do kind of just see ourselves as the conduits of this. We call our the doctors in our global community the community shapers. So we provide the structure, we provide a safe, secure, private environment for the doctors, which is what they need. Kind of a private portal, because the network, they feel like a fish out of water on business networking sites. So if they have a safe, secure, vetted environment where we have validated doctors where they can share, then they will share their expertise, and that's better for everyone.
So how do you teach collaboration?
That's a good point. It begins with the mindset, the evolution of the mindset. So doctors are very smart, of course. They studied very hard. They are very willing to better themselves, and they know that they need to go from this kind of data information to more of a knowledge and wisdom. So we like to say we're evolving them. We're not transforming them. We're evolving them. They're already very smart. They're evolving into what we call the fourth culture doctor, and it begins with a mindset change. So we have a series of programs. And we have a structured environment where we say seeing is believing. So one of the keys to evolving this mindset is, seeing is interacting. So interacting with technology, interacting with a diverse global group. So we're very diverse. We bring in experts from many different areas. We bring in partner providers from many different areas. And by interacting with this diverse global group and taking part in these structured programs, doctors are evolving their mindsets to this fourth culture doctor.
So how many doctors do you have now?
I mean, we've worked with doctors. We've worked in healthcare institution and hospitals for many years. So we've built up a community of thousands of doctors, and also technology partner providers. Now we're bringing in therapy providers, stem cell therapies, immunotherapies, even alternative therapies, because now it's about the holistic approach.
Right.
Doctors from all over the world, they want access to decision-making support for various types of treatments, because they may use different therapies, they may use different treatments now that are available, and they need to know what's available. What are the interactions between these different types of therapies that are available? So it's very important that they share this information real time. And
good point.
Yeah, that's it. It's something that we've discovered. We've through talking to doctors, that there was a huge demand for this.
So these are going to be doctors who are scientists to begin with, right? And then is an emerging technology. I think that's your favorite phrase.
Yes, we love to say emerging, because if we say future technology, people will think of Star Trek or something like that. We'll say, okay, that's the future. That's going to happen many years from now. We say, no, the future is now. It's happening now. It's emerging technology. But you're right. Well, some of the doctors are scientist doctors. As I mentioned, some are with surgeoneers. We call surgeon and engineer. But we do have doctors who are experts in stem cell therapies, different cell therapies, MD, PhDs. So they're all working together, and they're working together with these partner providers because they don't have the expert input to create, as you mentioned, Ed, virtual and augmented reality, artificial intelligence, AI. They don't have the expert doctor's input. So we created this innovation hub where they can all get together and new ideas, again, can emerge. So we like to say something emerges through recombination and synthesis. So something, like an artwork, you're painting this artwork and then something emerges from that. And that's what happens when we bring the doctors together with this diverse group.
No, that's really cool. So as we come to a near close here, my experience with the video here is brief, but a quick learn. So if it's too long-winded, they tune out. So
yes.
we got to do another one and go deeper.
Exactly. That's our micro learning. So we call ultra micro learning, UML.
What is design thinking or design learning applied to this? Is that like putting things on a wall and some stick and some don't?
Well, yeah, we do it virtually, right? We're building that into our platform where you can now, right, you can do that virtually. We did it for years in workshops with big companies throughout Asia and throughout the world. Design thinking, we have a program and a structure called DPPC. It's called Design, Plan, Pitch, and Connect. So doctors at various stages can go through. We have a Stanford University instructor and coach from the famous D School, Design School. I'm certified in design thinking. We've offered it many years. It's really just putting the human, empathizing first with the human. So it's kind of a we call flipped design, where you first start with the design, and then it used to be surveys and focus groups and things like that. Now it's getting the design feedback directly from the end users, and then making iterative, incremental improvements as you go along. So it's this back and forth process. It used to be, build it one and done. You just, you build it and then you push it out. This is really this recombination, synthesis. It's an interactive design with your customer from the very beginning so that you get it right from the start.
So we're talking with David A. Hall, and people can find you on LinkedIn.
Yes, I'm on LinkedIn. I've been on there. I was one of the first 20 years ago. So you can find us on LinkedIn under the AMP Doctor or Tamping, or you can Google the Fourth Culture Doctor and you will find us.
That's really cool. So I'm going to remember this as you being the flip doctor.
Flipped, it is.
It's flipped, yes. Medicine, huh?
It is. It's flipped healthcare. Before we were doing flipped learning, flipped campus. Now it's flipped clinic, flipped healthcare, flipped conference. We're flipping everything.
Yeah. David Hall, thank you very much, my friend. Nice to reconnect. And we'll be back.
I got to get over there to San Diego and visit sometime.
And I got to. So.
And you got to get over here.
Yeah. So are they allowing Americans to come in?
Yes. Well, yes. There is a quarantine. We've kept everything under wraps. It's the number one area for testing, tracking, tracing, quarantining. So we've been very lucky. But yes, there is a quarantine period if you want to come visit. So you'll have to hang out in a nice hotel for a while.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Okay.
This is Ed in San Diego, and that's David A. Hall in Taipei, Taiwan. Have a good day.
Thank you, Ed. Take care.